One of the strangest things about Earth is that it may be hiding far more gold than humanity has ever touched. Yes, you heard us right. Gold feels rare to us. It feels precious, limited, almost mythical. Entire civilizations crossed oceans for it, fought wars over it, built empires around it, and still treat it as one of the ultimate symbols of wealth. We dig deep for it, we melt it into bars, we lock it in vaults. We wear it, trade it, worship it, and measure value against it. But Earth never treated gold as something precious. Earth treated gold as something heavy. And in the earliest chapter of this planet's history, that made all the difference. Because when Earth was young, it did not look like the world we know now. There were no oceans, no forests, no continents, no life, no calm blue skies over stable ground. The early Earth was a violent, molten world, a planet of impacts, heat, magma, and chaos. For a time, much of its outer layer was not solid rock at all, but a vast ocean of molten material. And inside that molten Earth, gravity was already doing what gravity always does. It was sorting. The heaviest elements did not stay mixed forever. They began sinking. Iron and nickel, dense and abundant, moved downward toward the center. And gold, being dense enough to follow, went with them. Along with other heavy elements, it was pulled inward as the young planet differentiated into layers. That process is one of the deepest truths about Earth. The planet was not born with a core, mantle, and crust neatly in place. It became layered because gravity slowly separated materials by density while the world was still hot enough for that sorting to happen. Light material tended to remain higher. Heavy material moved downward. Over time, the center became richer in dense metals, and the outer parts became what would later cool into the crust and upper mantle. And that means one of the greatest gold stories in history happened long before humans existed. Most of Earth's gold did not stay near the surface where future civilizations might one day discover it. It sank, deep down, into the planet's interior, into the core. That is the part that changes everything. Because once you understand that, the story of gold on Earth stops being a mining story and starts becoming a planetary story. The gold we prize today is not the full wealth of Earth. It is only the tiny fraction that remained accessible after the Great Separation. And the scale of what disappeared is almost hard to believe. Scientists have long pointed out that there may be so much gold locked away inside Earth's core that if it could somehow be brought back up and spread evenly across the planet's surface, it could coat the entire Earth in a layer roughly half a meter thick. Not just a few mountains, not just a continent, the whole planet. Every ocean basin, every plain, every desert, every city. A global sheath of gold. That sounds like fantasy, but the deeper point is not fantasy at all. Earth is not poor in gold. Earth is overwhelmingly rich in gold. It is just hiding almost all of it in a place we will never reach. And that gives gold a strange dual identity. On human scales, it is rare. On planetary scales, it is not rare at all. It is simply inaccessible. That difference matters, because rarity is sometimes a matter of existence, but just as often it is a matter of location. Gold is rare to us because almost all of it is trapped beyond our reach. The core begins thousands of kilometers below the surface. It is separated from us by an immense thickness of mantle rock, extreme pressure, and temperatures so intense that the idea of mining it belongs more to science fiction than geology. Humanity's deepest holes barely scratch the outer skin of the planet. We do not dig toward the core in any meaningful sense. We live on the cooled outer shell of a world whose real metallic wealth lies far below. So if most of Earth's gold sank away so early, an obvious question appears. Why is there any gold near the surface at all? Why do gold deposits exist in rocks, veins, and riverbeds if gravity dragged the great majority downward into the deep Earth? The answer is that Earth's surface story did not end when differentiation happened. The planet kept evolving. It kept being struck. It kept recycling material through volcanism, tectonics, chemistry, and time. Some scientists argue that much of the gold accessible in Earth's crust today may have been added later, after the main core-forming phase. by meteorites and planetary debris that struck Earth after the deepest layers had already formed. In other words, some of the gold we mine may be the leftovers of cosmic delivery, not the untouched original planetary inventory. That idea makes the story even better, because it means Earth may have first lost most of its gold downward into the core, and then received a smaller late gift from space, enough to seed the crust with the precious metal humans would eventually discover and obsess over. So the gold in a ring, a coin, a circuit, or a bar may represent only the smallest surviving trace of a much greater hidden wealth. Not the main treasure, just the residue, just the part that escaped the fall. And that fall happened because gold obeyed the same rule as everything else in a young molten planet. Density decides destiny. This is one of the most important ideas in planetary science. Worlds are not just collections of material. They are systems that sort themselves. Heat, impact, pressure, chemistry, and gravity work together to decide where different elements end up. The structure of a planet is not accidental. It is the result of those deep sorting processes. And once a planet cools, those early decisions remain frozen into its architecture. Earth's core is rich in heavy metal, not because someone put it there, but because the planet built itself that way. And the same logic helps us understand other worlds too. When scientists study planetary interiors, they are often asking variations of the same question. What sank? What stayed high? What mixed? What froze? What separated? And what does that reveal about the history of the world? So the story of gold is not really about wealth. It is about formation. It is about why Earth became Earth. Because hidden inside the question of where the gold went is a bigger truth about our planet. The Earth beneath your feet is not simple. It is the cooled outer expression of a much more violent past. A world that once flowed, sorted, burned, and remade itself from the inside out. And that is what makes this so fascinating. The planet we think of as stable was once fluid enough to lose a global fortune into its own depths. The continents we walk on are only the thin outer layer above a world whose interior still remembers that early age of fire. And gold, of all things, gives us one of the most dramatic ways to picture that. Because nothing makes the hidden structure of Earth feel more real than imagining the sheer scale of what vanished below us. A layer of gold half a meter thick around the entire planet. Not in legend, not in a fantasy world. Here, on Earth, but unreachable. And maybe that is the most powerful part of the story. Human beings often think of value in terms of ownership. If we cannot access it, we almost stop counting it. But geology does not care what we can mine. Physics does not care what we can carry. The planet contains what it contains, whether we touch it or not. Earth has always been richer than us. Richer than our vaults, richer than our markets, richer than our myths. It simply locked most of that richness away before we ever arrived. So the next time gold is described as rare, remember the strange truth hiding under that word. Gold is rare in human hands, but in Earth itself, it may exist on a scale so vast that if the core ever gave it back, the whole world would shine. Not because gold was never here, but because almost all of it fell out of our story long before the first human ever looked at the ground and began to dig. And that may be the deepest lesson in all of this. The Earth we live on is not just a home. It is a vault shaped by gravity, fire, and time. And some of its greatest treasures were hidden before life even began. Drop a comment. If Earth's core suddenly released all its gold to the surface, what do you think would change first? The economy, civilization, or the way we think about rarity itself?